Ooh, you want to be caller 10 right now? They're on the Calm Before the Chaos tour. That gets them over to the world-famous Agora on Saturday night, November the 20th. You can go to agoracleveland.com. Any details you might need on that show or any other ones coming through. Caller 10, Streetlight Manifesto. These two are yours. Good luck. 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007.
Fully intending to claim the title, mistake by the lake for ourselves.
The Alan Cox Show.
On 100.7.
What's going on?
Yo, what up, guys?
Hey, what up?
Hey, congratulations on the new digs. Looks great.
Oh, thanks.
Poundcake, when did you start becoming such a scared little puppy?
When? He's always like that. He's Mr. I get PTSD from trying to figure out where to eat.
Like, are you just scared of life in general? Like, what is he, taking calls right now? Can't defend himself?
Yeah, he is.
Probably.
He is. Your timing's impeccable, Joe. Yeah, I can't speak for him. But, things, people are like, his life seems so unnecessarily complicated. And I'm like, well, you'd want to talk to him about that. You know, he's weeks away from becoming the 30-year-old man.
Oh, yeah, he's on the back end of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be rough for him. I feel like if he made plans in the beginning of the day or like a week prior, if he like stubbed his toe on the door on the way out of work, he'd be like, oh, I'm done. I got to go home. I can't do this anymore.
Well, maybe so. I hope that his toe stubbing happens at a time where we don't have a show to do.
Let's not discount the horrors of stubbing a toe. That can be a life ruiner.
Oh, yeah. I kicked a full big toenail off back in the day.
I would have done a lot more if I hadn't stubbed my toe so many times early on in my life.
Who knows what we could have accomplished?
You know how you could really, like, smash your toe and, like, peel the toenail off? Imagine if Poundcake had to deal with a hematoma underneath his toenail and had to peel that off.
Well, there's no call for calling him names. All right, listen, thank you, Joe. I appreciate the input there. This is Joe in Philadelphia. Steve Byrne is here. Hi. He's right there. He's here now. It's been a long time since we've seen you. How's
it going? Best hair in radio. Nice to see you.
Stop.
Look at that.
Come on, look at
Unbelievable.
me.
It's like Kennedy-esque.
Oh, yeah, right.
Unbelievable.
Ask not what you can, whatever that is.
Ask
Steve
not
Byrne.
what pomade I can use, but what pomade you can use.
You can use.
Look at that. Do you ever wake up and just go, thank God? Thank God. Look at this.
I do, because I'm 51 now, and guys on both sides.
You're 51?
51 as of this past June, yeah.
You do not look 51. Squire, you look horrible. You do not.
I take pride in my appearance.
That's right.
I'm trying. Come on, guys.
It's part of, you don't want to look too good on stage. Then people be like, I can't laugh at this guy.
He's perfect. Yeah.
And then they meet you in person and they go, oh, you look fine. You were lit strangely. Or the cameras.
I had to throw him under the bus for the joke. But
I understand.
I would never guess you were 51. That's crazy.
51 years old. I just put my daughter started the first grade yesterday. I have 2 kids in college.
Yep.
I was almost out, buddy.
Almost. And then you, oopsies.
Yeah, oopsies. Well, a different wife, but nevertheless.
Yeah.
So Steve Byrne, of course, was the headliner for the 10th annual Alan Cox Show comedy tour, right?
We all remember that.
All remember that.
Oh, how many years ago was that?
Well, it was pre-COVID. We thought
That's right.
we did it every year, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I need a heavy hitter for number 10. Steve Byrne, kind enough to come in and just nail it at the Masonic Auditorium, and then COVID hits, so 3 years without doing one. So
wow, it's been that long.
Well, we didn't do one in 20. Nobody's doing anything then.
That's true.
Didn't do one last year. Didn't do one this year.
They did have big plans for us to try and get
big
one
plans.
together.
Yes, they did.
They're like,
Machine Gun Kelly type plans.
Yeah, they're like, we'll do it at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And we're like,
one of the big bosses. Well, one of the big bosses is my old boss when I was on in Pittsburgh.
Got it.
And so anytime he comes into town to kind of get the lay of the land, he goes, you know, man, that comedy, it's so, you guys should really, that's awesome and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you should do what they do with DVE. You've done the DVE comedy thing, right? It's like they get Roy and they get Burr and they get Tom. I go, yeah, you give those guys like $25,000 to get like, do it at the Mellon Arena or whatever it's called.
Sure,
now.
Yeah.
But no, we had a good time, doing it here. So will we do it again? Who knows? I love doing it. But you were the last person at the Alan Cox Show Comedy Tour to be on stage for that event.
I'll be the first back. I think we have let's start off slowly. Let's dip our toe in the water. Alan Cox's first annual quinceanera. We do it in the basement of a Chili's, and we build off from there. Yeah.
Yes. What size sombrero are you? Because
I'm not going to be there. Dalton will be there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get Dalton and Squire to and then let me know if the tepid waters are ready for me, and then I'll come in, and then we'll get some big headliners.
We got to see if this baseball thing works out for Dalton. Throwing out that first pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, he was in.
Really?
He was in here
convinced,
yesterday.
yeah.
He was our second. He was our first in studio guest. You're our second, and he made the big announcement that he's throwing out the first pitch at the Sox Guardians game tomorrow.
Have the Guardians ever had a former saxophone player, third seat from Kent Roosevelt High School, throwing out a first pitch before?
I mean, that's such a specific thing that I'm going to say no. I'm going to go on a limb and say no.
Yeah, well, good for him. That's exciting.
That'll be a lot of fun for him. You, since we saw you, you're in Nashville now. You relocated.
In Nashville, Tennessee. Yep.
Because I have a buddy who used to be on Los Angeles radio and married a former bachelorette. And they moved their family to Nashville. And for a while, he was doing the show remotely, and then it just got to be a thing. But I've known a handful of people who were like, we're going to Nashville. So is Nashville becoming like that kind of hub where it's like not just L.A. transplants, but just people from all over? It sounds like Nashville is like blowing up.
It really is, yeah. They're expecting like another 150,000 people in the next 6 months, something like that. It's getting kind of crazy. And I
Why
moved there a
is
year and a
that?
half ago. I think people have just discovered with remote working, low state income taxes, and pride in the Confederate flag. That's somewhere you can live. 100%. Yeah,
and not necessarily in that order, by the way. So what got you out there then? Like you had obviously
White
touring.
Power.
Huh? That's
White
what
power.
it is. Yeah,
you'd love it.
You wanted to blend in.
You
yeah,
look
of course.
Aryan Nation.
Look at my hair.
Yeah.
Of course.
You look amazing.
Yes.
The baby blues. Hitler would love you.
Come on.
Yeah.
All the gray. My love for the General Lee. But it's fun. I mean,
I do love it. Yeah, it really is. It's like, I've lived in LA for so many years, and I think that when you meet people, that you recognize whatever, there's always that entitlement or that thawing of understanding, oh, okay, this person seems like they're okay to talk to. Now I'm in the conversation. But in Nashville, it's just like nobody cares almost. Like I met Garth Brooks, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Garth." I'm like, "Yeah, I know who the F you are." I was like,
"Oh, are you?"
Yeah. And he started laughing, but I was just like, "Wow."
Did you call him Chris just once? Chris Gaines? You didn't call him that one time?
No.
Oh. But he goes, I'm Garth, and you go, yeah.
I know, yeah. But all of everybody I've met so far is super cool. And this guy, even Jelly Roll is this rapper rock kind of like really kind of rootsy from Nashville, and met him, just the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And he's starting to blow up. And it was nice to meet somebody when you first moved there. He's like, "Hey, I'm Jelly Roll." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll be Egg Roll. Nice to see you." And now he's like blowing up, and still returns
You knew
text
him when he was just a tiny little croissant. Yeah, he was a growing pastry when you met him.
That's right. Yeah.
When you met Garth Brooks, what was it? Just out and about, or just like it was an event or something?
I was doing a red carpet for CMAs.
Okay.
And it was, hi, what are you drinking tonight?
Yeah.
That was just fun questions like that. But it was super nice.
Let me read how Cleveland Scene magazine wrote you up, because it's things to do this weekend, right? And so Steve Byrne's in town. No, it was nice, but I just thought, comedian Steve Byrne, the star and creator of the TBS sitcom Sullivan and Son, which was 4 seasons?
3 seasons.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
Byrne likes to make observational jokes about married life. Expect a lively, interactive show at Hilarities.
That was it?
Well, there's a little bit more, but
like
I liked lively and interactive.
Yeah, observational jokes about marriage. It's like, oh, that was a little bit ago, but I've moved on from that.
Yeah, right.
Period. Yeah, it's a lot more balloon animals now. And
sleight of hand.
Close
up tabletop magic.
Yes, I like to spend 48 minutes on reparations.
Mm-hmm.
Just fun family stuff.
By the way, 48 minutes on anti-reparations. That's the hook.
I am a Southerner now. That's correct.
That's right. Yeah. South of the Mason-Dixon line there. You got to be very careful. I'll tell you, and it's a slight detail, but I'm a big fan of it. I've always liked just the black suit and the black tie and the white shirt.
That's it.
I like suits on comics. I don't know. I'm old. I'm 51.
Yeah.
And it might in a vast sea of people performing now, it might seem out of place or an affectation.
Sure.
I think it's a great look. I think because it's your job. Some
your
people
job?
feel you should dress up when you go to work. You know,
That's
it's
right.
kind of old school. I've always liked that look.
People got babysitters. They're going out to dinner. This is their night out. So I think it's a form of respect, but I also think that when you film anything, it becomes timeless.
Yeah.
Then I look at pictures of Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. at the Sands, whatever, and you look at those pictures, it's like, wow, that could be yesterday.
Right.
So I do think you date yourself when, like Dane Cook a few years ago is wearing Ed Hardy and dressed like a male figure skater. And you're like, wow, this is so like early 2000s, Ed Hardy stuff.
Some
So-
people want a visual time capsule, though, too, right?
right,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
might
yeah.
be better to be, for you, it might be better to be interchangeable. And like, look
Yeah.
how I look now. It's the way I looked before.
Yeah,
I think everybody should just dress like Eddie Murphy, no matter what. It should be a red or purple leather jumpsuit.
Yep.
and that's-
driving gloves.
Yeah, that's the whole
Beetle
look.
boots.
Yep. Non-breathable fabrics from head to toe.
Amazing. That dude did not even, I don't think he even sweat in that thing. It was unbelievable.
No, and then
I
you
think
see
he
like
was-
Cat Williams, who all he does is sweat because he's in those velvet suits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that is a commitment. Good for you. When you can't go on stage without two hankies, right? Forget about the mic. Forget about the
yeah.
sound check. You got to wear my hankies.
And it looked like he wore like the suit. It was custom fit. And 2 minutes before he was come out on stage, a genie made him like 2 sizes less. It's astounding. That, like,
It is great,
okay.
though. Yeah. Steve Byrne is at Hilarities all this weekend. That would mean a 7 o'clock show tonight.
Tonight?
There are 2 shows tomorrow and Saturday.
Yep.
And then Ryan Dalton headlines on Sunday.
Yep.
And you get the hell out of town.
I'm
Do you
leaving
move on
before
or
he
do you go
headlines.
back to Nashville?
I'm going back to Nashville. This is my last weekend before I actually tape this. I'm taping a 5th-hour special for Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So we're doing that next week. And
In Nashville?
in Nashville.
Yep.
And so this is really cool. It's different than any other stand-up hour special I've ever seen. It's going to be, you're going to turn it on. The opening credits are going to be a late-night talk show. The set will look like a late-night talk show. There's a band there that's a late-night talk show band. And then I come out, and I'm the only one on the talk show. So if you think about how a talk show is structured, Act 1 are topical one-liners,
Yeah.
monologue jokes. Act 2 is panel. You sit at the couch, you tell Colbert or Jimmy a story, and that's storytelling, essentially. And then Act 3 is traditional stand-up done next to the band. So it's 3 styles of writing, all combined under the umbrella of a late-night talk show. So you'll see somebody doing an hour special, but it's just going to be a little bit different, and it's going to look really cool, and the band's awesome. The band are a bunch of guys. My buddy Neil Kane created this trio out of Harry Connick Jr.'s band, and they're going to come and play for me. And
Ryan Dalton, third chair saxophonist by any chance? or-
No,
What about Jelly
no.
Roll? Isn't Jelly Roll making a guest appearance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Steve Byrne of the Jelly Roll Orchestra tonight, live. What is the venue? I've never been to Nashville. It's one of those cities that's kind of on my list, but I just haven't made it there. What's the venue? Is it like this is a place that you really enjoy, or it's just a prominent place in town? Or what's
The venues actually, there's this kind of like posh suburb called Franklin. That's where a
Okay.
lot of the country stars live. And along this main street, they have the Franklin Theater, which is an old movie house that's been there since the 20s.
yeah.
And so when we were talking about doing it in different cities, New York, LA, Chicago, et cetera, I had heard that there was a lot of production being done in Nashville and was told to scout a few of the theaters. So I went and checked out the Franklin Theater. And being this old movie house, I walk in and the interior is gorgeous. It's like this purple and gold slated, it almost looks like it could collapse onto each other. It's
Yeah,
tiered, you
yeah.
know? So you look down and it just looks it looks like a time capsule.
Like
of the
that
20s
old
or 30s.
ornate kind of you
Yeah,
know, theater
beautiful.
look,
And
yeah.
when you do these late night talk shows, what people don't realize is the audience is never more than 200 people.
Right.
Even Kimmel, it's probably like 150. Late shows, maybe 100, if that,
Yeah.
maybe 110.
Yeah.
The old one with Craig Kilborn was like 80. It was
They sound
crazy.
loud, but there aren't that many people.
Yeah, even Conan, that might have been 200.
Yeah.
But as the years went on and talk shows became less relevant, they kind of truncated the space. So I walked in, I saw it, I loved it, and I was like, this is it. So we're going to do it. Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers is going to direct it. And
Oh, cool.
just really excited. It's been 5 years in the making. People constantly saying no, people saying, passing me off, you know, and then just saying, okay, if I get one more shot to do this, I better make it happen. So
I guess I don't understand why, if it's the kind of resistance that you're describing, for you, I don't understand that because, like, your body of work has gone beyond stand-up. I mean, you had the amazing Jonathan documentary. That might have been the last time we talked to you. You weren't in studio, but we talked to you on the phone about it. You had the film
The
that
opening
you
act,
did.
Yep.
And you've got a series of specials.
Yep.
Is the resistance just par for the course, or is it like maybe this isn't the right thing right now?
I think everybody deals with it. Everybody deals with the ebbs and flows of a career trajectory in whatever profession they want to do, right? So for me, I had a good little run, but everything I've ever gotten, I've clawed my way to getting those and attaining those things. So there's a lot of dirt underneath these fingernails when you go to the after party.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, for sure. After even when the film came out, there wasn't any late night talk shows that wanted to discuss it. Nobody wanted to have me on. So it just
Which is such a bummer because it's such a good movie.
It is, and why is
really,
that?
really
Like, why?
The industry is heat-seeking missiles. I'm sure it's to a degree in your business as well. When everybody loves a winner, that's it. When you're winning, it's so easy. When you're cast aside, as I was, you just gotta fight and claw your way back. So I just thought this is going to be something that's such a departure from everybody else's hour special that you got to do something unique.
Yeah.
And so I committed to it. I stayed the course, and I was like, eventually somebody's going to see it. And there was an executive from Amazon Prime that came out and saw it. He was like,
so it wasn't
absolutely.
Jeff Bezos.
It was.
Jeff Bezos was like, that's on my channel.
Let's do it in Tennessee. Well, because there's this notion, or, anecdotally, people will joke about how they're just handing out our specials to people. But that's really not the case. It's just that there's so many comedians.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do. Once in a while, you'll get somebody that kind of gets lightning in a bottle, and they'll give them an hour on Netflix or whatever. But they're not nobody ever gets handed anything in this.
Well, no.
So to
and
your
some
point,
of the guys are doing it themselves and putting it on YouTube and having a lot of success that way. And that's, there's so many different ways to do it, which is kind of the cool thing about where we are right now, where, like you're saying, you have to wait for the right opportunity. And with what you have a vision for, I think this is the right opportunity. I think it's going to be very cool. And I think it's going to be, and I've seen you run this and tweak it over the years. Like you said, it's been a long process. It's so much fun. It's such a fun experience.
What's it called?
It's called The Last Late Night, and it's like paying homage to the antiquated entertainment form of a late night talk show. If you go back to the 60s and 70s, the variety show was a staple on television sets across America. And then you have the late night talk shows, and there was a major boom in the 90s and early 2000s of those. And now slowly, with the advent of entertainment getting fractured and everything becoming so niche, we're seeing kind of the death of the talk show. So I wanted to do something where I was paying homage to it, but also do something creative that was different in the space of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, sure.
And late night talk shows have been such a launching pad for stand-up comedy. It was kind of like going back to the beginning for the end.
Right.
So this is kind of like kissing the ring of it.
How did you develop, because I think of you more than some other people when I kind of think of how I have a real reverence, and it's got to be more than age. There are people around our ages that don't care.
Sure.
But I have a real reverence for like that not old, but like kind of a
history of it.
An old history of that kind of broadcasting and things like that. And, how did you develop that?
I think just over the last few years, especially when I was coming up with the concept, buying the Johnny Carson box set and watching every single monologue on that.
Yeah.
And then via that, learning more about him, and then watching Bob Hope on it and going, okay, Cleveland boy Bob Hope.
Yeah.
And then going down a Bob Hope rabbit hole and watching his one-liners, and then watching biographies on his cachet of writers and Phyllis Diller, and then Dangerfield, and watching Dangerfield. You talk about communal. That guy would come out on The Tonight Show, eviscerate, and say, you guys know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombatz, right? And the whole audience knew this fictitious doctor, and there was going to be this plethora of great jokes based off of his doctor giving him awful advice or telling him he's ugly. And that's how kind of like connected America was back then, right? But there's very few forms of communal entertainment these days other than the Super Bowl, sports, or, a world event news-wise.
Right.
So I don't know. There's a part of me that misses that hodgepodge of like collectively all of us getting on the same page and having water cooler moments the next day, because it doesn't exist anymore.
That's one of the reasons I like when a thing like, when Tiger King blew up, or even like Making a Murder, where it's just almost everybody watched it, so we can all kind of have those moments, and it is a throwback. It's a different vessel for it now, but it is a communal experience to have everybody go, okay, let's talk about this thing. And
Sure.
it's not war. It's not politics. It's just, here's something that happened, and we all have our opinions on it.
Yeah.
And we can take a hard stance on this side and that side, and it's not going to ruin any friendships because it's just silliness.
Yeah, it's trivial.
Yeah.
Is what that was. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And COVID was,
Yeah.
I remember everybody's like, "Man, COVID sucks." COVID. I was like, I loved it. I loved COVID. I was so happy. I was just
Being home
eating
was
like an
awesome.
8th grader,
Yeah.
watching everything I've ever wanted to watch, reading whatever I wanted to watch. It was the greatest time of my life. I knew eventually everything's going to go back, but I was like, this is great. I'm hanging out with my family. We don't have anything to wake up for. This is the best.
It was like taking a gap year after college, you know? Instead of backpacking through Europe,
That's
you're
right,
just
yeah.
eating Ben & Jerry's at noon. I don't have to walk all day long. It's fine.
Yeah.
And luckily, Mary's not here to bum us out.
Yeah, man. Steve Byrne is at Hilarities this weekend, 7 o'clock tonight with our friend Ryan Dalton. 2 shows tomorrow and Saturday. And you can go to stevebyrnelive.com. That's the website, and find him all over social media at the same handle. It's always good to see you.
Thank you. Congratulations
coming
on
in,
the
pal.
studio. This is awesome. It's really, really nice. It's
walk
great to be
around the
downtown.
corner. It is nice to be downtown.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, let me take a break here. We'll return. If you want to text for something, 35192. You can watch at alancoxshow.com, and we'll be back.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7.
WMMS.
Weekdays on 100.7 WMMS and 24/7 on our free iHeartRadio app.
Proud tire and car care partner of the Cleveland Guardians.
As a small business owner, the last thing you need are nonsense fees on internet and phone service. Spectrum Business